All right, so if you're new to the channel, this is going to be a real quick recap. This car is the car that I started the channel with, my 2001 Ford Mustang GT. It used to have the 2-valve engine in it, the 4.6 liter 2-valve, which put out about 260 horsepower, a little over 300 foot-pounds of torque. This car itself now has probably near 400,000 miles on the body itself, and let's just say it's been Coyote swapped twice, and I've been pretty much dedicated and committed to this car. So last year's build, up to changing everything, that door is probably locked. I basically had this car put together, re-put together. So going from how dedicated I am as a Mustang fan, the entire interior was all re-swapped. We got the Mach 1 rear seats, the Brom Racing seats right here. I even had a new rear windshield put in because I'm gonna get it tinted, and there was just a whole debacle about that. So even the rear window is new. That's how committed we are, or I am, to this car. And as you come around, this is a Gen 2 Coyote NA with a Lund tune, paired with a T56 transmission, a 6-speed out of a 03 or 04 Terminator Cobra. And we have a lot of like 03 Cobra parts on this and other Cobra stuff, and just everything but down to the basic bare bones, I guess, of this car. It is a Mustang GT. Now, the 2024 Mustang that's been going around, a lot of like YouTubers and a lot of people, you know, I would say not the average Mustang enthusiast, not the, you know, average guy that gets to the car and just puts an exhaust on it, maybe a cold air, you know, drives it every day, maybe a couple times to work, and then, you know, that's just the car that, you know, my dad had that and I wanted to get one, or I think they look cool, so I'm just gonna make it sound good, and I don't really care about anything else about the car. That's not for, this video is not for that person. I feel like those sales, or those people's, or like their opinion kind of doesn't really, it's not too relevant to what this is. This is kind of basically to the enthusiast or YouTuber that, you know, buys these cars because they make YouTube content on it, which with much bigger channels that have, you know, basically make their income off doing that. You know, I don't, but I can speak from being the enthusiast, as I have a 2001 New Edge Mustang. You don't really see them much around anymore, and a lot of people use these cars as like drag cars, swapped cars, hence my case, the swapped car. So we have a Coyote engine in it, and the biggest thing for the 2024 Mustang is when somebody like myself that owns one of these and wants the newer style, the newer technology that comes with the S550 Mustang and the entire aftermarket platform, because it's probably like 3 times the size of a New Edge or the Fox body, and probably like the early S197, you know, from everything from performance parts, from, you know, forced induction kits to exterior mods. There's so much out there for these cars, and you can make them look so good. There's only so little you can do with these cars. That's just my opinion behind it from what I've seen and owning this car for basically a little over 10 years. You know, I feel like I've done everything I could have done with it. So if I was to go buy a S550, I'm looking at the Gen 2. The 11 to 14, from everything that I've heard and seen, you know, that's the perfect car. That it's not so modern inside still. It still feels like that 05 to 2010 S197. Your door panel skins are peeling off, and, you know, you're just having all those kind of bullshit issues and everything until you hop in the 2011, and that's when the Coyote came out, and that changed the game for a lot of the big automotive, you know, content and automotive racers, or, you know, people that race all the time, and people that, you know, the Coyote basically like changed the game for Ford competing against everybody else. And, you know, with this, if I stick this engine in, I'm trying to tune it and I'm trying to make a lot of horsepower, because eventually I'm going to put, you know, a blower on this car. So that's the goal with that. But if I was to go out and buy a 24 Mustang, that option is not there. There's, I guess you can tune it with Whipple, but that's it. There's no competitors. You can't have an aftermarket tuner, you know, tune the car to the specs you want. Like, from what basically the Mustang is a blank slate from taking words of somebody else's, you know, what they've said before, from what I watched, and great knowledge to their channel. So it's a blank slate. It's a car that's, you know, a cheap sportsman, you know, it's a poor man's car basically. and you want to take that car and modify it the way you want and be able to make power but not be locked down to just Ford, because I think that's kind of bullshit when you're spending so much money. You know, the newer Mustangs I've seen are going, when they're, you know, I guess they're coming out, the 25s are going to be right around like 60,000, and I think that's crazy. And you could swap one of these cars for under 15,000, probably even cheaper than that now. You can take an F-150 Coyote engine, put it in here and pair it with a T56 and still make power with it. So it's just one of those things. That's like the 8th time I've been asked if I'm good. Yeah, so as I was saying, like that, I feel like that's just like where we're at with this. The common enthusiast for the Mustang, like I said, if it, you know, they make YouTube content, that's their income. They're buying a 24 Mustang, and you know, you can only do so much content with it. And you say you didn't pay right out for it, you're paying like, I don't know, $800, $700 for something like that monthly, and then, you know, you can't make videos off it. So what do? You're kind of stuck with a car. So I feel like this route's a little different. Not a lot of people do these swaps anymore, and just the Coyote alone is like, yeah, just filming a video for YouTube. Thank you. At least people are nice, I guess. But yeah, that's just like summing it up. So like I said, this is not going to be a long video because I can't really drive the car around and stuff, so I'm just going to let it idle. But I think you kind of understand my take on this. Like, what I kind of have to say with such a small channel probably really doesn't matter. So like, who's going to come across this video? But if you do, like, I hope you kind of take my opinion and you might run with it, and you might agree at some point, or you might, you know, 100% agree. I don't know. But this is just my perspective with it. You know, I spent so much money swapping this car, but if I was to swap it once in 2025 now, or say if I was to swap it in 2024, instead of going to buy a 24 Mustang, I'm not stuck with a car payment. You know, I'm going out, taking a new edge body that's what, a couple $1,000s for a very clean one. I'm saying a Mustang GT. I'm not talking about like a Mach 1 roller chassis or a Terminator. And I want a fun street daily car that doesn't weigh so much. It's not going to have the technology, but I can still make it look good, and I can do all that under $15,000 if I wanted to just do the basics of like having, you know, the cheapest Coyote engine, finding a T56, add in a few exterior mods, and just going back to like original interior and unlock, you know, getting the car tuned is not that hard. You can reach out to any tuner, but like I reached out to Lund, and they, you know, quick turnaround, a day or two for an NA tune, and then go on a route to have a blower on this car. It's not that hard. So that's why I like the aftermarket world for the power of this car is there, because it's under the Coyote, it's under the Gen 2. There's so much for that. And those people that kind of just want to have the 24 Mustang and wait for the tuning to be unlocked from Ford, to where, you know, companies like Lund or VMP or somebody can offer you tuning for the 24 Mustang, and you're just kind of waiting and bullshitting around. It's kind of dumb. And if you're trying to get after it, you're trying to take that car and take it to the drag strip, run numbers, and build it. You can't really do that. So I see where, you know, like Ford Mustang fans, as myself as I would be if I was to go out and buy one, and be frustrated with the outcome because I can't really do much with it. So that's why, like, when I'm going to be looking for a Mustang, you know, this year, it's going to be an S550, not the S650. It's going to be just a 2015 or 2017, the Gen 2, because I feel that's the best ones. They're basically like an S650. They almost look like one, the same chassis, I believe. But, you know, they look great. You can do so much with it, and tuning is there. And the car, there's like, you know, what do you need? A fuel system, maybe, a blower kit. That's what the route that I want to go. And I don't know, maybe minimal suspension and have fun with it. You know, if I don't want to get too deep into building a car like that. So if you're trying to have a fun street car to take to Mexico, that's, you know, I feel like that's just the way to go. Instead of spending $60,000, like, cool, you have tablets in the car. They look good, don't get me wrong, they look good, but is it really worth it? So that's kind of just where I'm at with it. So it's kind of just a ramble video, obviously, but, you know, it's just coming from somebody that owns a Coyote swap, that's owned one since 2017 or 16, and I don't know, I just wouldn't spend my money on a 24 Mustang. But if you have, you know, I would wait around. And like I said, I have no ties to Ford or anything, so But Ford's not going to give a shit anyways. You know, I'm just another person with a Mustang that spends a lot of money on it. So yeah, there you go. So hopefully this channel, you know, or not channel, but hopefully this video kind of helps people out, maybe understand what's going on. And if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't. So that's what it is. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all in the next video. Yeah.